Welcome to the American Diversity Report podcast. I'm your host, Deborah Levine, Editor-in-Chief of the American Diversity Report. And with me today is Dr. Janét Aizenstros. She's a signatory with the United Nations Business Action Hub, that's UNBAH, for the United Nations Global Compact Network. She is an award-winning businesswoman with several leadership awards, such as the Top 40 Under 40, a recipient of the 2020 WXN Canada's Most Powerful Women Entrepreneur Award, Top 100, the Stevie Award winner for Female Entrepreneur of the Year, Canada, Employer of the Year for Canadian Business, which ranked her company 12th on Canadian Business's 2020 growth list, making her the first Black Canadian woman in history to scale a 9-figure organization and sole female founder to be featured on the list. Janét is also a member of the Young Presidents Organization, YPO, a participant with Concordia Leadership Council, and a Global Goodwill Ambassador for the Global Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation. So welcome, Dr. Janét.
Hi, Deborah. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. My goodness, what an incredible list of accomplishments. How did you get started in all this?
How I got started in all of this? Well, I've actually been sharing this story quite often as of recent. I got started back in 2011. And initially what I did was I just kind of threw all of my gifts out against the wall and put them into the atmosphere, and I saw what stuck. But in truth, the truth of the matter was, it wasn't as intentional as people think. It wasn't like this entrepreneurial journey was like, oh, I want to start a digital consultancy that's women-led. No, actually, it was about committing to the process and following that process wherever it led me to. That revealed to me that in around 2016, when my company hit 7 figures, that what we need to do is pivot and become more focused on women and blend back in my passion for women. Because I was losing a lot of steam from when I first started 4 years prior for what I was doing, because it became more about bottom line and less about creating impact. And so I went back to my original origin of creating impact. And once I started focusing back on my passion and love for women and for children, we just kept growing and scaling from that point.
That's wonderful. I know that we women need models for doing this, and you are definitely one of them. And look at all the awards you've won in Canada. And I know that you've done other things too with the United States, yes?
Yeah, actually, we have quite a huge presence in the United States. We do have a huge presence in the United States. The majority of our clientele comes from there, but we're actually in over 15 locations globally, and we just keep growing in different locations. So we're initially a boutique corporation. And my women-led digital consultancy works with Fortune Corps and media companies to help them connect with women consumers in an emotional and intuitive way using data and technology. And so we've definitely extended quite a reach in some of these companies. Some of the locations that were once satellite locations are now becoming full-fledged established offices in those regions, or having a presence in those regions. So we're actually quite happy with our growth.
I can imagine. It's wonderful. Can you give us a little bit about your background personally and share with us the diversity of it?
The diversity of it, for sure. Yeah, I'm first generation Black Canadian. My parents my dad's from Aruba, my mom's from St. Vincent, and they came here in the 70s, and I'm born and raised in Guelph, Ontario. Love that community, still live in the community or just on the outskirts of the community, but love it. Love being connected to my community. And due to COVID, I've actually, since I was forced not to travel, I've actually been able to get that connected with the community, by serving the community, but whether that be sitting on a board or, partaking as an ambassador for certain activities or events or movements. So it's been really exciting for me. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm Black, Jewish, so that's already a combination within itself, and I'm an anomaly. I'm just an anomaly, right? So.
Well, it's a beautiful combination, and I know people are going to be eager to hear from you about your life and your work, but also about the incredible good works that you do, Tikkun Olam in Hebrew, the repair of the world, because you give back, it seems, every day. Yes?
I giving back. Did you say giving back? It seems like I do it every day.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think that I live by the motto that living is giving. And you live, we're not here to serve ourselves. We're here to serve the greater good of the collective and humanity. So I wouldn't say every day, but I'm intentional with how I give and when I give and the and why I give back. I think that for me, especially when I started my company, especially when I pivoted the company, not so much when I started, but when I pivoted, it had to become, it, I became very focused on legacy and what it would take to create legacy. That became the biggest piece for me. And so a lot of I wanted to create an impact. Not so much, it wasn't so much about me, but I wanted to definitely set a benchmark that gave other young Black men and women and children here in Canada the opportunity and to see that you don't just have to settle for the status quo, or you can be anything that you want to be, and you don't have limitations, and no one can define you based upon their perception of you.
An admirable goal and much needed in these days, is it not?
Very much so. Very, very much so. I think that's the latter of what I shared is one of the biggest parts of the reality is that is that it's that people not allowing the perceptions of other people to define them, and then really focusing on the fact that, one person not liking you doesn't represent millions, thousands, hundreds of people that want to love you, right? And I think at times, just a part of human nature, we have a tendency to focus in on the one thing that irks us instead of the part of us that the people that want to love us and rejoice at. So hopefully at some point in history, or we can correct that in human behavior as well, or even raise generation of kids that constantly look for the abundance or the joy in things, not always lapsing into scarcity or only seeing the worst in certain dynamics.
And how do you see that playing out in this COVID era? It must be quite a challenge in some of the work that you're doing.
I will share that my company, as well as the people around me, have been quite blessed during COVID. But I will share with you that I have definitely seen some dynamics that are very unfortunate. And I wouldn't really link what I shared in the last comment to COVID, because I don't think people are seeing scarcity, because COVID, in fact, is a real issue. COVID is, in fact, a real issue. I think people need to be mindful and need to be diligent and do their due diligence around keeping themselves, their families, and their loved ones safe in this time. But I also think that it's an opportunity to create abundance and opportunity, and good things come to those who do really seek it out and make the most or maximize the potential of whatever circumstances that they're in.
You and I have met during this period. That's true.
This is true.
We are able to go global more than ever, are we not?
We are able to go more global, and obviously the world is moving towards global, has been for years now, moving towards globalization ever since the mainstream influence of the internet, right? And then social media adding on, and then all the opportunities that have come with the tools around technology. And so the one thing I was going to share is that I think that people just, it's exactly what I shared before. People just need to maximize their opportunities in this season.
And what kind of specific organizations do you work with to help that happen?
Well, I work with a multitude of organizations, and it depends professionally, personally, or through philanthropy. Um, Professionally, I will share with people that right now, just due to some of the social dynamics that did take place this year, more companies are aligning with creating social impact and social focus, because we've just discovered that a lot of a lot of people are have become very aware of what has happened via COVID. That they are in a place of where they were forced to tune into some of the dynamics that were taking place socially, and have become more proactive and more intentional in aligning with organizations that support a lot of their social initiatives that evoke emotion in them. And so from a professional standpoint, I would share with people that you're going to have, if you're going to start a business, you definitely want to start something that aligns with what I call, or what I should say, a good friend of mine, Amelia Antonetti, calls your genius key, which is just your soul's total alignment with why you are here on earth, and what you want to give back to humanity. So I think those types of movements, and we've definitely seen that with a lot of entrepreneurs that have startup e-com businesses, they're not just putting out content just to take advantage. What they're looking to do is to be very intentional, because many of us have had our hobbies taken away, so we have time to be intentional. When you're looking at it from my personal standpoint, I've actually been quite happy during this era. It's allowed me to reconnect with my family, friends. I'm not on a plane, so I've been at home, and I'm loving being at home. I'm getting a little bit antsy now. I do need a switch up, because it's been 9 months into this COVID seclusion, I call it. But I will share that it's definitely been a wonderful wellness journey throughout this year of just reconnecting mind, body, soul, and spirit. And then from a philanthropic standpoint, it's part of what I shared in the professional outlook around aligning with things that offer soul, but also people should be looking for ways to serve their community. And a lot of younger people, or people that people that want to get onto boards now have an opportunity to really seek out some organizations where they can actually serve and fuel their community in that manner.
Now, you know that I've started a Black-Jewish dialogue, which has come from my heart. And we've talked about that in the past, about making a difference, joining both communities, and you represent both. How do you see yourself involved with something like that?
Well, actually, I've been quite proactive in trying to create or be a part of the conversation, for sure. And so a part of what I will share with you is the big part for me has been being vocal, or finding opportunities to be vocal. And some of those opportunities have not really have not really shown up in the way that I've wanted to. And I keep looking at, is this the time to speak? Is this the time to speak? This is the time to speak. Well, here we are. Now it's finally time to speak, being on your platform. And I know I was definitely conflicted with some of the dynamics that did take place this year, but I was able to find a way to serve both communities regardless of the social dynamics, because I represent both of the social dynamics. I'm pro-Black, I'm pro-Jewish, I'm pro-Israel, but it does not mean that I'm anti anything else. And I think that has to be the message for those that do represent both sides of the coin. It doesn't mean just because you're pro something that you're anti something. And sometimes there are people that just lack nuance, that want to create a belief or a perception that people that are pro something are obviously anti something else, and that's not necessarily true.
I couldn't agree more, and we need to hear that. We are in a situation, an era perhaps, where emotions are so heightened. People are not listening very well. Do you think that the next coming year, 2021, will be an improvement?
Absolutely. Of course it's going to be an improvement. It's my year. Don't you know that, Deborah?
It is.
No, I'm making a joke because my birthday is actually coming up on December the 21st. And
Oh,
next year is going to be, my birthday is going to be 12/21/21. Yes, in the terms of numerology, there's going to be a whole heap load of things happening. So anyway, it's going to be cool. But no, on a serious note, I do believe 2021 will be better. Believe it or not, I actually felt like this year was a year of miracles and favor. And I know not everybody feels that way. And I'm so compassionate and so empathetic to the people that lost a lot during the season. But also I know that there were many people that went through a season for the last few years that it's been really difficult. And this year seemed to be a great year for reset. And the way that I've been sharing with people, so look at this year as a reset, not an unfortunate situation. We've all lost people this year due to COVID, or people have lost jobs, or have had to go through financial discourse or distress, and I completely understand that. But I think 2020 was a year of reset and set up to really become a launching pad into 2021. So I pray for the people that are going into 21. They see it as an opportunity next year to create these wonderful, beautiful miracles. These beautiful miracles that, just can, yeah, they just see it as in that aspect. I don't even know what else to say about that. It's just, I think that people should really, and it's really sad because as I shared, I have a lot of compassion for people that have gone through a lot of hardship in the season. It has not been a blessing for everyone, but some people, even though that they've gone through trying circumstances, they definitely have, I've seen a lot of people taking advantage of creating opportunities within these circumstances.
And one of the groups of people I think you work with are women in particular.
Love women. You guys are the light of my life.
I'm hoping that women will be the peacemakers of the future and the leaders in many cases to get us out of this mess. Do you think that will happen?
Well, you know what? It's interesting because my family is Chabad, right? And it's interesting. I know that many years ago, I was listening to a rabbi speak, and he talked about the Mashiach will return when when women or feminine energy comes to the forefront, or there's a heightened level of feminine energy in the atmosphere. And I do believe that because I feel that we have a lot of traits and skills that, since it's not to say that we don't have egos, we have egos too. So this is not about the men not being effective, but I think that there needs to be a balance. For so long and for thousands of years, we've been running patriarchy. And I believe it's come to a point of where if there is not a counter or a balance to what is happening, we're like on the brink of destruction. It's not just, I don't think it's just in the United States. It's just that there's so many economies globally that really needed this reset to set up with what happened this year for a multitude of reasons. And I believe that women, we just have some really great skill sets, from that emotional, intuitive standpoint to the way that we lead and the way that we just offer so much light and brilliance into the world. I believe that we are the restorers of this world.
I love it. I like that very much, and I'm hoping that I will be among them. How amazing is it to have that kind of impact when so many of us, especially of my generation, a little older than you, grew up without that kind of mission or example to follow. And you are setting an example for sure. And it's amazing to see all your awards. And the best, I imagine, is yet to come for you. What do you have planned for the future?
Planned for the future. Everyone always wants to know about the future. Well, well, as I shared, my birthday's coming up. It's my 41st birthday
Woohoo!
Monday. And I believe for 2020, I'm excited to get back to traveling, or 2021, I should say. I'm excited to get back to traveling. I'm excited to get back to some of the things that I was doing, but I'm in a beautiful place of where I get to be highly selective of what I'm doing. You know, I've been investing in women-led organizations globally for quite some time, so I'll just continue that, and so with my philanthropy. But I've also been looking at the endless possibilities of what does the future hold? What happens next? Where are we going? And I think that's a part of my life that I'm glad that there's a sense of mystery. Because from a professional standpoint, everything seems to be running its course. Everything's right on track for where it needs to be. But from a personal standpoint, I've definitely left room for endless possibilities. And I love the fact that there's uncertainty. So I'll have to see where life leads me.
Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing about that. And I may even have a suggestion or two.
I'm definitely open to suggestions, but I think Hashem has already laid out my path,
Ah,
um, for
amen.
sure.
So, is there anything else that you would like to add to share with people to give them a sense of you and what your mission is and how they can make a difference too?
Well, I think everyone can make a difference. And, something I think that if I can impart on people, and as I shared, some people are going through a difficult time, is I want people to understand that happiness is not a state. Happiness is stringing together all of the beautiful moments even the tiniest moments that we have in life, from the daily laughter of our children to the daily laughter of watching a television program, stringing together all of these funny, beautiful moments that we share with our families and friends. That's how we cultivate happiness. So happiness is about cultivation, not about a state. And I think if more people do that, they will realize that they will find that they have more things to be happy about, more things to be grateful about than the some of the problems that exist in our life. And it doesn't diminish the fact that those problems are real, but what it does, it reinforces that there's a reason why you're here, and a reason why you can give, and a reason why you should be doing good for your life and for the lives of those around you. So that's the part that I want to impart on people, and always be looking for opportunities to serve and to give. Such a wonderful blessing to live in a world that allows you to serve it, and it always gives back to you. And I think that's beautiful.
Oh my, wonderful words. Thank you so much. I know that our audience is going to appreciate all of this in these unfortunately dark times for now, as they look forward, because we do need to look forward. We cannot be just still in the mess, and not try and not do something and act for a better world. And I really appreciate your coming on and sharing who you are and how you become it and what your mission is, so that others can learn by your example. And it's just beautiful. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And audience, thank you for tuning in. And our hope is that you will add to the light in the universe by your actions. And you'll let us know how it turns out. Yes? Good.
Thank you, Deborah.
A pleasure. Thank you.